What is up, YouTube? This is Alucard AFK with another MTGO game with commentary. So, opening a hand. Oh yeah, and we're back on our mono black. We call it the discard deck. So, opening hand, we have a Vampire Nighthawk, 4 swamps, a Mono Mania. Target player chooses a card in his or her hand and discards the rest. And a Triumph of Cruelty. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent discards a card if you control the greatest creature with the greatest power or tied for the greatest power. So he's going to play a Swampy. And we're going to get a Swampy. And he's going to play a Walking Corpse. Is it hopeless? No, it's not hopeless. So before we get into this, one of the viewers made a comment on, you don't have to list every card out. We're not idiots. We can, I guess we can see what you got. Well, I know there's a lot of people that don't have full screen ability. They have a small little crappy monitor and can't really do 1080p full screen, so that's one of the reasons why I call out the cards that I get. The second reason is there's a lot of people that are new to Magic, and they're gonna see. I know when I first started playing MTGO, I knew Magic pretty well, but I still didn't see what the cards. I mean, I was watching games and cards were flying around, and if you don't recognize the name, or even if you do, you don't always know exactly what the card does. So I try to explain what the card does. Maybe not every video, but especially when I switch decks back and forth, I try to just give a little bit extra to the new Magic players or the people that can't actually see. So that's why I do this. So we got a Phyrexian Obliterator, and we'll go ahead and play another Swamp. And then there's also people that listen to the games and stuff. I know there's several coworkers that listen to my games on their phones, and they don't look at the screen at all. And if they did, they wouldn't be able to see crap. So just hearing me call out the cards and the play-by-play type of thing is really good for them as well. So he'll play an island, and he'll pull a Diregraph Captain. So it's Death Touch. Other zombie creatures you get 1/1 whenever a zombie you control dies, target opponent loses 1 life, and he's a 2/2. So he's gonna swing in with the Walking Corpse, which is now a 3/3. And we'll go down to 17. And we got a Disentomb. Return target creature from graveyard to hand. And we'll play a Swamp and go ahead and put our Vampire Nighthawk out for 3. He'll swing in with the Walking Corpse. We'll go ahead and block it with the Vampire Nighthawk. And we'll lose a life due to the Diregraph rule. And one of the reasons I did that is that Vampire Nighthawk, yeah, it's flying, it's got lifelink, but he's going to be swinging for 5 at a time, and I would be swinging over the top of their heads for 2 damage, and I would get 2 back. He's still doing 2 damage to him and 3 damage to me, so it's just kind of pointless. I usually go ahead and trade that up front, and then of course I play a 4th Swamp. I go ahead and do a Disentomb, and I was gonna say that for maybe the Phyrexian Obliterator, but I figure we're gonna trade back and forth, and there's 4 Phyrexian Obliterators in this deck, so we go ahead and Disentomb, and we pull the Vampire Nighthawk back to our hand, and then we go ahead and play him back out for 3 mana, which my opponent thought was pretty nice. And he'll do a Moan of the Unhallowed. It's put 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield. You can flash it back for 5 colorless and 2 black. Had not seen that one before, and that was in recent in this block. So we put a Swamp out, And we go ahead and put a Phyrexian Obliterator out to, actually no, first we do a Monomania. So we do a Monomania, target opponent chooses a card in his hand, he's going to discard the rest, he's got 4 cards, so got rid of Mark of the Vampire, a Doomblade, a Rise from the Grave, put target creature from a graveyard into the battlefield under your control. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. For 5 mana, that's not bad. That might be a really good way to pull a Phyrexian Obliterator back onto the battlefield. You know, not just back to our hand. But for 1 mana, I really do like the Disentomb better. So we'll go ahead and just not swing in a Vampire, Nighthawk, and he would have done an instant Grasp of Darkness anyway. Target creature gets -4/4 until end of turn. So for 2 mana, that's really good. And he'll go ahead and swing in for 8. And we'll go down to 10. And we got another Vampire Nighthawk. Go ahead and play a Swamp, and we'll go ahead and put Phyrexian Obliterator out. And this is pretty much, you know, where it stalls out a little bit. And he'll play Otherworld Atlas, put a charge counter on Otherworld Atlas. Each player draws a card for each charge counter on Otherworld Atlas. I'm going to put a charge counter on it. And we got a Duress. Go ahead and play a Swamp. We'll go ahead and do Duress. And he has a Trepanation Blade. Whenever equipped creature attacks, defending player reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a land card. Then the creature gets 1/0 until end of turn. For each card revealed that way, the player puts the revealed cards into his graveyard. So we got rid of that. I'll go ahead and put a Vampire Nighthawk out. And we won't swing in after Phyrexian Obliterator. He's our blocker, so we'll just pass the turn. He'll put a charge counter on Otherworld Atlas. And we got another Swamp. So we'll go ahead and play Triumph of Cruelty. So at the beginning of his upkeep, he will either, he'll discard a card if we control the creature of the greatest power or tied for the greatest power. Right now, Phyrexian Obliterator is the greatest power, so. And so what that enabled us to do is block with Phyrexian Obliterator and swing over their heads with Vampire Nighthawk, so. So he'll go to 18, we'll go back to 12. And he'll go ahead and play another Trepidation Blade. Put a charge counter on Otherworld Atlas. And he won't swing in because Phyrexian Obliterator is sitting there. He has no cards to discard, so we got a Swamp. We'll just not play it. We've got plenty of mana. We can always play it at the end step. And again, we'll just swing in with Vampire Nighthawk. He'll go to 16, we'll go back to 14. He'll put another charge counter on Otherworld Atlas. And he'll actually tapped it. So with that, we drew Guess Verdict, a Swamp, and the Diabolic Tutor. And he'll tap his lands and bring out a Garth's Mind Crusher. Whenever the Mind Crusher enters the battlefield, target player puts the top 5 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, and he's a 5/5. We'll go ahead and do Guess Verdict here, since we drew it, and he'll sacrifice one of his zombies. Due to the Direcraft Captain's ability, we'll lose 1 life and go to 13. And then we'll lose the top 5 cards of our library. Which, let's see here. I usually don't show my graveyard. Top 5 cards, we lost a Swamp, a Distress, a Sangromancer, a Diabolic Tutor, and a Painful Quandary, so not really anything we couldn't do without. He'll lose a card, or discard a card. So we got a Disentomb. So we'll go ahead and play a land. We'll do a Diabolic Tutor, choose a Phyrexian Obliterator, and then play it. And then we'll go ahead and Disentomb Vampire Nighthawk, which my opponent again thought was pretty nice. So we'll swing in with Vampire Nighthawk. We'll go ahead and swing in Phyrexian Obliterator. Yeah, I know he can block with a Death Touch, Direcraft Captain, but he's got Trample, so we'll trample over top of him and swing in with Vampire Nighthawk. He'll go to 10, and then he'll have to sacrifice 3, I think, just 2 permanents. So he'll choose a Swamp. Oh, just one, I guess. Oh, he also, yeah, so he'll put a charge counter on Otherworld Atlas, and we will draw 3 cards. So we'll choose a Gruesome Discovery. Target player discards 2 cards. Morbid if a creature died this turn. Instead, that player reveals his or her hand. You choose 2 cards from it, then that player discards those cards. We added this Direct and Obliterator. So he'll play a Swamp, and he'll put another Direcraft Captain out. And he'll put a Ghoul Raiser out. So when Ghoul Raiser enters the battlefield, return a zombie card at random from your graveyard to your hand. And so it was another, it pulled the Direcraft Captain. So at the beginning upkeep, Triumph of Cruelty will trigger, and he'll have to discard a card. And we got a Distress. So we will go ahead and do a Distress, and his hand has a Grasp of Darkness, a Undead Alchemist, Direcraft Captain, and another Undead Alchemist. So we'll choose Grasp of Darkness. Play a Swamp. Put out a Phyrexian Obliterator. Put out a Vampire Nighthawk. We'll swing in with the Vampire Nighthawk, and again, 1 Phyrexian Obliterator. We'll leave 1 for a blocker. He'll block Phyrexian Obliterator of Direcraft Captain. And we'll trample over, and he'll go to 5, and then he'll have to sacrifice some permanents. So he'll choose, of course, the Mind Crusher, which is Undying. It's a 5/5 Undying. It's crazy. And so he'll come back as a 6/6. And of course, when he comes back into the battlefield, we would lose another 5 cards. So, is it 5 cards? Yes, so 5 cards. Go for the Throat, Sangromancer, Swamp, Recklaware Tower, and another Swamp. No biggie. So he did, he tapped Otherworld Atlas, we drew a Guess Verdict, Black Sun Zenith, and a Mental Agony. He'll put a Direcraft Captain out. And he'll pull Elixir Mortality out. He'll tap Elixir Mortality, which means he gains 5 life, and then shuffle Elixir Mortality and your graveyard into the library, which is fantastic. He'll discard a card, or maybe not, because, yeah, so he has Mind Crusher out, so he won't discard a card. Get a Tumor Arc. So I'll do a Guess Verdict. He'll choose Diregraph Captain. We'll lose 1 life. And since Gruesome Discovery, since a creature died, we triggered Morbid, so we get to choose 2 cards. So we're just going to choose his Undead Alchemist and another Undead Alchemist. And I lagged out here. I know Duress can't actually get rid of anything in this situation. I just clicked it and then realized it was a Duress, I guess. So, and we'll swing in again with 2 blocks. We'll just do 2 Vampire Nighthawks this time. He'll go to 5. And we drew 2 swamps and a Psychic Masma. Target player discards a card. If a land card is discarded this way, return Masma to its owner's hand. He'll play an island. And he'll do Rise from the Grave. So put target creature card from a graveyard into the battlefield onto the battlefield under control. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. So he pulled a Sangromancer, and then due to the Diregraph Captain, it's a 4/4 flying. He still controls the greatest power of the Mind Crusher, which is a 7/7 now. He only got a swamp. We'll go ahead and play Masmia. He'll get rid of a Diregraph Gruul. Do a Mental Agony. Target player discards 2 cards and loses 2 life. So get rid of Diregraph Captain and Ghoul Caller's Chant. And then we put out an Entomb Arc. And my opponent thought that was nice. So he had a Mutilate in hand. We get rid of that Mutilate. And here I know he's got a 4/4 flying creature, so we could have just, well, it would have just stalled out. So we go ahead and swing in with both Vampire Nighthawks. He'll block with Sangromancer. So he gains 3 life from the Sangromancer, and we lose 1 life for the Diregraph Captain. So he'll go to 4, and then we'll go to 23. And we drew a Vampire Nighthawk, a Phyrexian Obliterator, and a Swamp. So Levitation was a good trick. All his creatures now have flying, so now I have a flying 7/7 here and a flying 2/2. What to do? What to do? I've had Black Sun Zenith sitting over here, but I don't really want to clear the board of my creatures, so he put out a Diregraph Ghoul, which is now flying 3/3 due to the abilities on the field. And then he'll equip the Triple Edition Blade. He still won't swing in. He still controls the greatest power. So we'll put out a Phyrexian Obliterator. Put a Swamp out. And he commented on another Phyrexian Obliterator. Jeez. So we did about Tuta. And we choose a Sangromancer. We'll go ahead and put a Vampire Nighthawk out. We'll swing in with the Phyrexian Obliterator, the Vampire Nighthawk, and the Entomber. Why not? So he'll block Vampire Nighthawk with Diregraph Ghoul. Or actually he'll choose Grouse for Phyrexian Obliterator. He just repeated the same step, so not worried about it. So he'll go down to 2, and then he'll have to sacrifice permanents with the Phyrexian Obliterators. So he sacrificed a swamp, an island, another island, a Diregraph Ghoul, a swamp, an island, and that sacrificed a Trepidation Blade. So he's down to a 6/6 Mind Crusher, who's still flying. We'll draw some cards, and at this point he was really trying to mill me out. We got a Diabolic Tutor, a Despise, and a Swamp. He'll do a Ghoul-Claw's Chant. Choose one, return target creature from your graveyard to your hand, or return 2 zombie cards from your graveyard to your hand. He still controls the greatest power, so... And we got a Swampy. We'll do a Despise. He'll do a Grasp of Darkness on Phyrexian Obliterator. So Phyrexian Obliterator will now go to a 1/1. The Despise will go through, and we'll get rid of a Diregraph Ghoul. Put a Sangromancer out. Play a Swamp. And we'll swing in with Entomber Arc, Phyrexian Obliterator, and Vampire Nighthawk. He only has 2, so he can only block 1 of them. So if he blocked Vampire Nighthawk, Entomber would go through. Yeah, there's really nothing he can do there. So the game will end on turn 15. We both commented on how fun the game was, trading creatures back and forth. There was a lot of mechanics going on. The Phyrexian Obliterator is a very powerful creature, especially when you have 4 of them, especially when you're able to get 4 of them out. Combined with the Diabolic Tutor, was able to get 1 of them out of there. Yeah, and all, of course, the discard ability of this deck. I got rid of a lot of his cards. So, what'd you think? Like and subscribe. Tell me what you would have done differently. We'll see you later next time.